Welcome to Woman on Her Path. Every woman has her own unique path. But what does that mean? How does said woman know what her path is? How does she find the courage to follow her path? I am your host, Tiffany Cooper. I am a mother, energy worker, community herbalist, and bhakti yogi. By sharing my experiences and insights on my path, I hope to inspire and encourage you on yours. When we follow our path, we find the answers we need in life. Let's find answers together and create a better world for ourselves and those around us. Well, woman, how have you been since the last time we connected? Spectacular, I hope. Taking challenges as they come and succeeding at putting them in proper perspective. Incorporating the lessons learned from them into your life and expanding your consciousness, staying on your path and growing into the woman you are meant to be. In essence, a wise woman. That is our birthright. We start out as precious little babes, so sweet in our innocence with the need to be cared for and held. We grow into curious little girls, absorbing the mixed messages around us and beginning to form who we think we are supposed to be, while trying to silence that inner voice that tells us who we want to be. Then adolescence appears, throwing us off track as that voice we thought we had managed to tame begins to scream at us to let it out, which leads us to young adulthood when we have successfully put that voice in a box and taught it to say what others want to hear. The years after that are all about slowly deconstructing that box. About going back to who we truly are. By the time we get to middle age, we are so exhausted from pulling ourselves apart that we don't give a damn anymore about what we're supposed to say, what others think, or about the lies we were told and have been repeating to ourselves. Then we have done it. We have smashed that box to pieces and let that voice out to sing. We could look back on our lives with lament over so much time wasted, or we could understand that all of those years were leading to this moment, right now, when we have to make a choice. To fully be who we are meant to be and share that hard-earned wisdom we have acquired, or to go live in a hut in the middle of the woods, watching from afar as the rest of the world goes on making the same stupid mistakes that you and every other woman could have prevented if you had banded together and used your power collectively. But it is so much easier living in that cozy hut with everything you need right there within reach. If we go out there, we could get burned at the stake again. It is true, woman. the world can be an ugly place, especially for women. We are vulnerable to so much injustice and cruelty. Our societies are cleverly crafted to keep us from making too much progress and to pitting us against one another. But don't forget, our birthright is to be wise women, to use our intuition, our creativity, our energy to bring healing to our communities. Like the wise women of old, the herbalists, the midwives, the counselors, the ritual leaders, the ones who knew what to do in all stages of life. We are needed in our communities to help steer the way. We have entered a time of new energy when nothing is as it used to be. However, throughout human history, people have not changed. We still have the same needs that we've always had. Some may think that we are more sophisticated now than ever before, but it is clear that we are not. We have lost touch with so much valuable wisdom because we have spent too much time focused on what we can see with our eyes. Our narrow vision has caused us to make vast improvements in our material existence, but we have lost sight of the subtle and spiritual realms of our lives. We have dumbed down humanity by teaching people to strive to have more stuff, which of course could never be satiated. There is no end to greed, while conditioning people to think that the subtle and spiritual realms do not matter or are non-existent. We draw all of our energy and the material assets that we have from sources far greater than us. Yet we think we are the masters of all that we survey. Does that make any sense at all? We don't have a clue how the energy and the material resources that we take from are created. Yet we think we can control them or recreate them. Hubris can only come from ignorance. Our forefathers and foremothers were so much more sophisticated with their knowledge of the connections of things in this material world. They wrote many, many texts to tell us all about it. Of course, some have been destroyed or lost over time, but others, or pieces of others, still exist. Each culture had a strong oral tradition of keeping wisdom alive because human beings actually had much better memories. Technology has slowly but surely shortened our attention spans, and it gives us answers without us having to go find them in a meaningful way. So we rely less and less on ourselves. We give our power away to machines and billionaires who use it to make even more money. Scientists are trying to create a metaverse where, essentially, we no longer exist. Only our minds would have value there, dumbing us down even more. What matters, what gives us human experience, what gives us true wisdom is not located in the brain. That is only part of the picture of who we are. That narrow focus prevents us from seeing the big picture. And so we end up ignorant, thinking we know everything. Even today, Indigenous peoples all over the world are still so connected to so much that the rest of us have forgotten. We would serve ourselves well to consult with them about what we need to do to make this world a better place. That deep esoteric knowledge that people had before modern times allowed them to do amazing things that would serve us all well today. Cure physical, emotional, and mental ailments by connecting with subtle energy and the planet that we live on. We are part of, not superior to, everything that surrounds us. In that connection lies the answers to what we need. The feminine energy inside of us instinctively knows that. And when we plug into our feminine energy, we see the wisdom of it all. We see below the surface, and instinctively we know what to do. Our inner wisdom is our greatest teacher. Though we may have teachers who share great knowledge with us, the wisdom within us knows to link ourselves to them. We don't need bigger and better things. We need healing. We need to know how to take care of ourselves and those around us. By hyper-focusing on our masculine energy, we have built so much. But because we have engineered from only half of the picture, it is a hollow shell. Without a heart and a soul, nothing has meaning. A wise woman knows that well and activates her energy from there. She recognizes true medicine and knows that it only heals with intention that comes from our hearts and our souls. The state of the world today needs the medicine of the wise woman. Are you ready to tap into your wisdom and be the woman you were meant to be? The best medicine for any woman is to know herself. From there, she can be genuine, which gives her power. A wise woman uses that power to serve her community. She educates herself in the ways of working with subtle energy. She cultivates a spiritual life. Women spend so much time trying to be what others want us to be, or developing a facade of who we think we are supposed to be, that we don't even know who we really are. But when we tap into our feminine energy, who we are flows out of us effortlessly. A wise woman also knows that her feminine energy must be in healthy balance with her masculine energy, in order to be truly powerful. As we can see from what we are all experiencing in the world today, leaning too far toward one or the other will cause nothing but confusion and chaos. One side of us is not meant to dominate the other. We are meant to hold both sides in beautiful balance. They complement each other and create a flow of energy that is complete. Recently, I visited the Callanish stones on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland. The Callanish stones are a stone circle older than Stonehenge. The energy of those stones was more powerful than what I experienced at Stonehenge. I was completely alone when I visited the Callanish stones and bonded with them on such a deep level. The Isle of Lewis is a wild and rugged place. The flat landscape looks stark and possibly uninviting. There are few trees on the isle. The weather there is not conducive to their growth. The wind constantly blows, and in winter the air is frigid. The rain is a regular guest, and the population there is low. You could go an entire day hiking and exploring and hardly see anyone. On the surface, Lewis seems very masculine. But when you tap into her energy, you realize that there is a constant flow of warmth coursing through her veins. It rises up through the land and embraces you. Lying on her beaches, walking and being wrapped in her wind, everywhere you go, it is with you. Nowhere did I feel it as strongly as when I visited the Callanish stones. Within the circle, walking through the rows, leaning on the center monolith, even as I approached the stones, I could feel the powerful feminine energy. Rainbows reminded me on a daily basis of the power of Lewis, the way everything and everyone responded when I reached out. Everything. It was all magic. What you see on the surface is the perfect camouflage for what lies underneath, protecting it so that it could continue to flow. The feminine and the masculine working together, keeping things in balance to keep magic alive. I experienced something similar in Vrindavan, India. I had a routine of starting my day by practicing my sadhana, then walking along a certain route to visit several temples. Most temples in India are run by brahmacharis or monks, men who have dedicated their lives to serving the Lord and those who have faith. On the altars taking care of the deities, there were men. Doing the cooking and cleaning were men. Leading kirtans and giving classes were primarily men. But that energy that they were serving and sharing with others was feminine. The love and devotion that holds our faith is feminine. On the surface, what I saw in India looked like a masculine endeavor, but it was protecting and serving feminine energy. In Bhakti, we understand that the feminine is what activates the masculine. One cannot exist without the other. A wise woman knows that she must balance her energies, for that is where her power is. With that, she can hold space for the paradoxes of the universe, dark and light, unity and diversity, truth and illusion, joy and pain. She sees it all as it exists together and respects it all for what it is. So, how will you reveal your inner wise woman? How will you claim your birthright? The world needs you today more than ever. It needs your magic. To light your sage and take your place in the circle, to gather healing herbs and soothe your loved ones, to commune with the earth and share her wisdom, to midwife the dreams of a better place. Blackthorn, mother of the woods, stands in protection of the entire forest. Her mysterious nature keeps many secrets that only a crone could know, like how to balance the light and dark of the universe, and how to turn sour berries into sweet wine. She knows the darkest reaches of the forest like the back of her hand. She dances with great warriors and is unafraid of death. They say sipping her gin will make you brave and make you privy to the deepest wisdom, the kind that only a crone could know. How does a woman go about connecting with her wisdom? As women, just like men, we are spirit souls encased in human bodies. The bodies that we inhabit are attuned to certain abilities that men are not, and vice versa. Those abilities, along with sensitivities, are given to us to serve particular purposes in life, to live out our dharma. There is an order to everything in the universe because everything and everyone is meant to serve a purpose. Without purpose or meaning, everything would be out of balance. Without balance, chaos ensues. Also, like men, we have feminine and masculine energy within us. We are the manifestation of the feminine, while men are the manifestation of the masculine. As our respective manifestations, we are more prone towards certain characteristics than others. Now, of course, that is a generalization, as there are many variations within. But we can see for ourselves that this is more often the case than not. As women who tap into our feminine energy, our minds, intelligence, and false egos are geared toward the ability to connect with things that allow us to see on a certain level. In addition, our life experience, which is unique to us, gives us the wisdom to see things. When we use our vision to delve deeply into our path, we see things in a way that others cannot. There are paths that we can take that lead us directly to profound wisdom. We can take up a spiritual life. We can educate ourselves about the earth, human nature, plant life, animal life, things that help connect us with subtle realms. By learning about these things, we instinctively understand that there is something that connects us all and that there is greater intelligence than what we have been taught. By learning about healing, our hearts and consciousness grow. Again, I am not talking about the masculine science of treating symptoms. I mean the feminine art of getting to the root and holistically soothing the dis-ease. Healing comes in different forms. Energy work, psychological work combined with spiritual work, emotional work, anything that goes beyond the surface of body and mind and gets deep into the source of it all. For example, you have heard me talk about many herbs on this podcast. I have shared with you medicinal properties and even ways of using herbs. We can get so much physical relief from plants, but the beauty of working with them is that they go way beyond the physical. They heal us on a subtle level as well. They have properties that show up for us to heal the psyche and bring us into connection with our higher selves. Now, I could tell you that nettle is an anti-asthmatic, or that it is good for arthritis and sciatica, or even that the juice is actually the antidote for its sting. But more important than that is that the plant enhances our vitality, not just by cleansing the body, but by sharing its energy with us. I encourage you to try it for yourself. Drink nettle tea every day for a month, and then let me know how you feel. There are other realms besides what we can see with our eyes. When we open ourselves to them, they become more and more clear. But we are conditioned to not believe in anything we can't detect with our blunt senses, which is such a damn shame. Because of that conditioning, we miss out on so much of our lives. We spend our lives on the surface, wondering why we are not satisfied. If we allowed ourselves to know what is below the surface, satisfaction would not be a question. Open yourself up and explore what else is out there. Find others who are seeking and sit with them. Learn about the healing arts. Even if you don't become a skilled practitioner, it will show you a whole new world. Don't waste your life in the programming of society. Go beyond that and become the wise woman you are meant to be. woman. It is time for our weekly tarot card reading. Yes, that's right, woman, just for you. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, this reading is just for you. Isn't it wonderful how that works out? It's magic. So anyway, we are using a 8-card spread. Now, I already shuffled and I already asked our query, and I originally spread out 6 cards, but just as I was about to start recording, I was told that I needed to put down 2 more cards. So we're doing an 8-card spread this week, and our query, what we asked about was how we can connect with our own personal wise woman, our inner energy that gives us the knowledge, the strength, and the abilities that we need. So our first card of this reading is the 4 of Wands. Oh, and she's a lovely card. Okay, so what this card is telling me is that we, first of all, I think I mentioned that in the last segment, that we need to connect with others, other women, and not just any other woman. We need to connect with women who are sharing our path, who are actually not just sharing our path, but are devoted to the same path or similar path that we are on. They are married to this path. That's what we need to find. And not only are we finding women who are married to similar paths that we're on, but these women that we're connecting with are joyous. They're happy. They love the path just like we do. Wow, wouldn't that be amazing? So yes, so that's the 4 of Wands. And in this path, like I said, we're joyous. They're joyous. We're all joyous on our paths because our paths are fruitful. Our paths are giving us what we need to move forward in a beautiful way in life. So that's one of the ways, that's the start to how we connect with our inner wise woman. So our second card is the Strength card. And so in this particular deck, the Strength card, if you have been listening to this show every week and maybe even every month, you will notice that the Strength card always, always, always comes up in our readings. It's actually one of my favorite cards in almost every deck that I have. I have many, many tarot decks. But this particular card is just so beautiful to me every time I see it, no matter which deck I'm looking in. And today, this card is magical for us because in order to connect with our inner wise woman, we need to connect with our strength. Now, that does not mean putting on a suit of armor and going out with our swords in hands to fight battles. Our strength comes from within, and it allows us to be who we truly are. And it also allows us to not take in the negativity and, all of the things that we hear or see around us that are not serving a positive purpose. It also takes strength to kind of explore and go on a new path. It takes bravery, of course, but bravery also comes from strength. And so we need to connect with our strength so that we can find our paths and walk our paths, because our paths will lead us to becoming wise women. And once we get to that path, once we're firmly on our paths, that will be our, that path is eternal for us. It's not just, oh, I'm going to try this out today, and then I'll do this for a couple of months, and then I'll try something new. No, our paths are eternal. They're real, they're powerful, and they're strong. So let's connect with our own strength so that we can connect with our paths. And I also just want to add, I want to add to this that we're connecting. Like I said, it's not about putting on a suit of armor and being some, warrior that's masculine energy. And I'm not saying it's wrong. That is sometimes very appropriate. However, this is about feminine strength. This is about that deep, deep wisdom and knowledge that keeps us going in life and helps us support those who we need to support when we need to support them. So our third card here is the Queen of Cups. Talk about deep, deep, wise women energy. Wow, the Queen of Cups. So what this card is telling me in this reading is that we need to, this is beautiful. Okay, so as the queens of our own cups, cups is representing in this instance our wealth. And I say wealth, I'm sure you heard my quotation marks. I say wealth, not meaning monetary wealth, not meaning money, not meaning material things, but the wealth of everything that we carry inside of us. All of that strength that I just talked about, all of our talents, all of our abilities, all of our magical qualities, we all have them. You may not be in touch with them, but you have them. It is your birthright. You have them. You may not know what they all are yet, but they're there. So we need to really honor all of those special and unique things that make us who we are. Honor it, treat it well, respect it, hone it, take care of it, use it in humility. All of that helps us really connect with our wisdom. So when we look at each of our talents and abilities, all of our uniqueness, when we look at it as a whole, we understand that all of those things bring us so much wisdom. So connect with that, honor it, love it, take care of it, cherish it. And that will help you become an even wiser woman than you are today. Okay, the next card that we have, our fourth card, and this was one of the cards that I was told to add after I originally spread out the cards. So this card is the High Priestess. Oh, goodness. We're getting some of my favorite cards here. This is another one of my lovely lovelies. I just adore this card. This High Priestess, what she's telling me in this reading is that in order to become a wise woman or connect with our wise woman energy, we need to go deep. We need to connect with the mysteries of ourselves, which is reflective of the mysteries of the universe. As I said before, there is so much out there to explore that we cannot see, we may not hear it, we may not smell it. It's not about our blunt senses. This is about tapping into those deep, deep, beautiful esoteric mysteries that surround us all of the time. So this card in this reading is saying that, oh yeah, it's talking about what I also alluded to earlier in the podcast about understanding that life is about paradoxes. It's not black and it's not white. It is, everything takes place in the gray. The gray, the combination of the black and the white, the in between. That's where it all happens. And so that high priestess energy is about understanding that and not being so quick to judge things, not being so quick to say, this is what that's about, and that is what that's about. It's about being open and taking a step back and using our wide, beautiful feminine vision to see the bigger picture of everything around us. It's about taking that time to run things through our compassion, through our deep feminine intelligence, through our intuition before we make judgments. That's how we become wise women. Now, our fifth card is the King of Cups coming. So remember, we had the Queen of Cups, and then I was told to add those two more cards, and one of them was the High Priestess, and she was leading us to the King of Cups. So as I've talked about throughout this podcast, is that we need to have that balance of feminine and masculine energy. So that High Priestess, the card I just read, was about balance. It's about understanding paradoxes. It's about understanding that nothing is one way or another. And so that again represents holding things in balance. So now we're at the King of Cups, our masculine energy that also helps to bring about such power. Again, it's balancing. We're not talking about the masculine dominating the feminine, nor are we talking about the feminine dominating the masculine. We need them both. We need to be in touch with them both at an equal level so that we can tap into our pure, deep wisdom. I'm sorry, I'm kind of distracted right now because as I'm speaking, what keeps coming to mind is when I was in Scotland in the forest. I was in a forest right outside of Edinburgh. Actually, it might be considered within Edinburgh, but to me, it felt like we were just on the outskirts of Edinburgh. It's the forest of Rosalind Glen. And there are two trees there. They're the mother tree the grandmother tree and the grandfather tree. And these trees are very, very ancient. This forest is very, very ancient. There are lots of connections there to the Knights Templar, and also many Druids go there to practice as well. And so I remember when I was with these trees, they both had such different energy, and they both had very, very powerful energy. And I went to visit the grandmother tree first. I met her first. And I remember as I approached her, just being astounded by what I was feeling, what I was sensing, what I was seeing as I was approaching her. And then once I got close to her, I remember feeling that warm embrace of her energy and that love and softness in my heart that was just connecting. It was like she was opening it all up for me. And as I was standing there, I remember thinking, of course, this is what I'm feeling, because feminine energy is something that I am so in touch with and so trying to cultivate more and more in my life because I've spent many, many years being more in touch with my masculine energy. And so as I was approaching her and as I was spending time with her, I was thinking, yeah, of course, this feels so natural. This feels so right. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so I left her an offering and then I moved on to the grandfather tree. And the grandfather tree just totally blew me away because his energy was just as natural. At first, it felt like it was more natural to me than her energy was. And again, it was very, very different, but it was so powerful and so beautiful. And I actually have photos with the grandfather tree, and you can see his energy rising up from the earth around him. And so that's what I thought of when I thought of these two cups, the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups with that High Priestess card in the center. Okay, the next card that comes up in this reading is the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Wands. And what this card is telling me is that in order to connect with our wise woman energy, we have to understand that we hold magic. We hold magic in the palms of our hands. And so by understanding that we hold that magic in our hands, that allows us to open up to it. And as you know, I'm an energy worker, and magic in our hands is a real thing. So when you connect with energy work, you start to realize that we can transmit so much beautiful healing energy through our hands. From our hands, or our hands are that opening that allows us to pass that energy on to others. And so this card is telling me that by not necessarily, being specific and using specific types of energy work and using your hands in that way, but realizing that we have that ability, that we have the ability to take energy inside of us, to connect with energy beyond us, and bring it through our own bodies and channel it out into the world. That is what we have the ability to do. And once we realize that and connect with that on a real level, where we see it, where we feel it, where we try to understand it, it's way beyond us, even for those of us who practice energy, it's way beyond us because we're in these human bodies with limited capacities. So we can only understand a certain amount of it, but we can have a very great understanding of it once we honor it, open up to it, and maybe even practice it. Okay, so the next card in our reading is the Justice card. And I really, let me see what he's telling us. I'm really connecting with this card in this reading because he's telling us in order to connect with our sense of our wise woman energy, we have to connect with our sense of justice, which means holding things in balance. Again, it's hearkening back to the priestess, the high priestess card that came up earlier in the reading. But this one is a little bit different. The high priestess card is about the balancing of energies that we hold inside of us, and that energy that comes out of us to project onto the world, and also the energy that we use to filter the external world through. The Justice card, however, is primarily concerned with the external world. It is about seeing the external world with a sense of justice. Now, that does not mean that we all need to go out into the street and join a protest or start a protest. Not that there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is when it comes to external justice, that means using our internal vision to see external things in a balanced way. So again, when we become wise women, when we're using that wise woman energy, we are taking that energy from within us and using it to see the external world in a balanced way. And again, if we need to do things like march on the street or stand up, whether it's marching, whether it's signing petitions, whether it's writing letters, whether it's calling congressmen, whether it's speaking out in some way, shape, or form, whatever it is, sometimes we do need to do that to bring justice to a situation. And now we come to our final card of our reading, the Knight of Wands. Dun, 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 dun. The Knight of Wands. And this is a lovely, lovely card to end our reading on. Most of the cards that I've read so far have been very feminine in energy. Even though this is a Knight of Wands, it also has feminine energy because, as I've already mentioned, we have to keep things in balance. Everything has masculine and feminine energy, or feminine and masculine energy. Nothing's one or the other. But this particular card, the Knight of Wands, is ending this reading to tell us that in order to connect with our wise woman energy, we have to persevere. We have to keep going, and we have to do so with our magic, the full measure of our magic in our hands. We have to keep going. We have to stay on our horses and keep charging through so that we can connect with that energy. If we give up, if we say, no, enough is enough, I can't do it, then we're never going to get there. But it is our birthright. We are wise women. We know that we can get there. We can use all of our abilities, all of our talents, all of our strength, all of our inner knowing to get us to where we need to be. Well, guess what, woman? We have come to the end of another episode of Woman on Her Path. Thank you so very much for joining me today. And if you are a patron, you have joined me on my Patreon page, I will talk to you next week. I am so looking forward to it. If you listen on any other platform, I will talk to you next month, the first Friday to be exact. So have a beautiful week or beautiful month, however long it will be before we connect again. And please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, comments, anything that you have. I would love to connect with you even more. Let's reciprocate this relationship. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this show. I hope you found something useful. Like everything in life, we can take what we need and leave the rest. Please feel free to contact me with comments or questions at womanonherpath@gmail.com.